Hey guys, so I have a few build tips that I want to offer you guys. Most of it will probably be for community lots rather than residential lots, but there's a few things in here for residential lots, I'm sure. But also, the way I approach building, I do not approach building as just somebody who builds for The Sims 4. So there are reasons why I put certain things where I do in my builds, and it's because of gameplay reasons. So I just wanted to mention that. But let's just get right into it and see how quick I can get through this video. So number one, the buy debug mode. I personally like to use the buy debug mode to grab things to put outside my Sims houses or community lots. Mostly I go in there to find specific things, like specific world items that I would like to put on community lots. But I kind of go over there to grab trees and shrubs and rocks and fences and cars and things like that to put on my residential lots when I'm building a starter or a budget home. Because usually I try to not spend too much money on the actual build and also furnishing it, but sometimes I cut it real close and then I'm like, wow, your Sims only has like $50 and like they got to cook dinner before they get to their new job the next day. So I'm like, basically you need to, go into the buy debug mode and grab a few things, because I just personally don't like to have a bare like lawn. You know what I mean? Like, I like there to be at least trees or shrubs or stuff like that, just to give the outside a little bit more of a, I guess, a nicer look. Number two, and also none of these steps are in any particular order, but number two, where do you find your online inspiration, or where can you find inspiration? Doesn't have to be online. So you could watch HGTV shows. You can watch sim builders. I was going to say other sim builders, but I don't classify myself as a builder. But maybe you are a builder. So in that case, yeah, you can definitely watch other sim builders. You could look in magazines, and you could also go on Google search. So I like to go to Google and go to their images and type in like rustic kitchens and like cathedrals, or like vintage or like ancient libraries and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much where you can go to find some idea of what you would like to build. And then we're just going to move right into like probably something that's going to come across being so random, but bathrooms. So try to have a variety in your bathrooms. So I build mostly community lots. I will say right now, off the top of my head, I have only built one lot that allows your Sims to have their toddlers and infants go to the bathroom. Probably more of my lots in the future will have that feature, but for the most part, I can only think of one lot that I've done that for. Now, this is where like gameplay gets a little bit, mixed in with how I build and why I build certain things. So I like to use this example of the two libraries that I built. So I built one library in Windenburg. It's called the Old Time Shop. This library has the bathrooms on the third freaking floor. And it's because I totally forgot to put the bathrooms not just on the first floor, but also on the freaking second floor. And so in my mind, I was thinking, well, the only people that are going to be coming to this library, even though that's not how the game works, unless you use lot traits, and or you download extra like modifications or modified lot traits, then that's a different kind of deal, right? But in my mind, I was like, only adults are going to come to this library, and also specifically probably Brightchester students, because I made a debate room upstairs and it has all the Brightchester colors and all that stuff. So on the third floor, where the bathrooms are, that's where you're going to find that room for, the Brightchester students or whatever. And that's why I was like, it's okay if I put the bathrooms on the third floor. Then when I built the Brindleton library, I did a section on the first floor for like a kids library, like a kids area. And that's when I decided that I was going to put the bathrooms behind the staircase. So they're on the first floor. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, when you're going to spawn at a lot, chances are your Sims are already going to want to go to the bathroom or get something to eat. But I'm like, what about if you spawn, what if the Sims spawn to the lot, but they also got kids? And I'm like, they're going to go to what, the third floor to get to the bathroom? So that's why I did what I did there, because I realized that that was kind of stupid to put the bathrooms on the third floor. Also, just remember to put a bathroom. So we have public bathrooms, right? We have public bathrooms that you could plop down anywhere and your Sims can, like, go into the rabbit hole and go to the bathroom. I don't know if all age groups can go there. I imagine infants can't use that. I don't know if toddlers can, but probably not. So that's something to also keep in mind. But I'm also somebody that only likes to use those public restrooms when I am building an outdoor lot. So I try really hard not to do that when I'm building, like, let's say a library or, something that's indoors. I just try not to do that. With that said, also make sure that there's bathrooms available somewhere, though. You know what I mean? So, like, if you don't care about having too much realism, or you just don't want to knock down anything you've built and you just want to put down a public restroom area, whatever, just do it. You know what I mean? But there was a lot that I built. Where was it? It probably, oh yeah, it was in Brindleton Bay. I'm always in Brindleton Bay, it seems. And it is a country store. And I actually had somebody play test it for me instead of me play testing it myself. And the person came back with, "Where's the bathroom?" And I was like, "What do you mean, where's the bathroom?" Because, like, as I was building that lot, I was just so concerned about how much, like, things I could jam pack in that retail lot, because I wanted it to be like those old fashioned, like, thrift shop, like farmer's almanac kind of places, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, "What do you mean, where's the bathroom?" And I'm like, "Well, there's a public bathroom that's literally, like, a little bit, like, past the trees, like off the lot, but past the trees." But then I started thinking, like, yeah, but if somebody takes this lot and places it in a different section of Brindleton Bay, or they place it in a different world, is there going to be a public bathroom around there? I don't know. So I said to myself, I have to put a bathroom. So I actually had to go back into the build and I built a bathroom, but it was like, I was almost like saying, I don't want to put a bathroom on this lot. I just want the Sims to come here and shop. But then I said to myself, but it makes sense to have a bathroom on the lot because, like I just said, not everyone's going to place the lot where I'm going to place the lot. So that's something to consider. Moving on from bathrooms. If you're building somewhere that your Sims are going to go eat, definitely have more table selections, you know what I mean? So, like, tables that have 2 seats, tables that have 3 seats, things like that, just to give it a little bit of a variety. It's not a big deal. It's not like your Sims are not going to be able to eat or anything like that, but it's just something that I take into consideration. Especially if, like, your Sims are going to go on a date or something like that, and, you just want to have 2 seats and, some, like, little intimate space or whatever. That's something that, I think about when I place some of these lots. And also try to make sure that there's nothing that blocks the chef stations. So those stations are very freaking finicky. Like, I don't even want to place, like, a flat poster like behind or, like, above those chef stations, because it will literally block it, and then the chef won't be able to cook the food, and then your Sims are never going to get, like, served their meal. So that's something to consider if you're building a restaurant or something like that. Oh yeah, so spend time on the outside landscaping. I think I mentioned that way back, like in the beginning of the video, when I mentioned that I like to use ByDebug for landscaping. I'm not really particular about everything when I do landscaping, but it's like there's something about sticking a tree down or like even a flower and having like it look like it's shooting out of the ground that bothers me. So I'm always like putting like these shrubs like kind of close together, or I'm using rocks to kind of hide like the stems or the roots that are coming, up from the ground when I'm placing these objects, or I'm putting those, there's like these green squares that you'll find like when you're doing landscaping, like with the trees and the shrubs and all that stuff. And I like to put those underneath like a tree stump, and or like even not even a tree stump but an actual tree, because it just bothers me to have these things just like shooting out of the ground. So that's a tip that I can offer you, I guess. I mean, if it's something that you don't like the look of and you're maybe thinking like, why don't I like the look of it? It's probably because it's like shooting right out of the ground. So you might just want to just like, crowd some other shrubs or something around it. Also, not everything has to match. I find it's a little bit nerve-wracking a little bit when it comes to like nightstands next to beds, because I'm from the era where it's like when you went to go buy a bed set, like you had, or like even if you didn't go and buy it and it was passed down to you, it came with a freaking dresser, it came with the mirror, it came with the nightstands, it came with the bed frame, everything. So I do know that in more recent times I was reading an article where they're just like, not everything has to match, or you don't have to have matching nightstands. And I completely understand that, but sometimes it's a little hard, and I'm like, I have to have this house have matching nightstands. You know what I mean? But don't like get caught up in things like that. And also with that said, there are so many different kind of homes that are out there now. I know there's a place for super duper realistic builds, but there's also a place for like fantasy and like just super duper personal builds. So like I just want to mention that, because I know that there's one builder that I love that they build so many unique builds. And then there's a builder that I love that just strictly builds realistic homes, and it's like, whatever mood I'm in that particular day that I want to watch something, that's what I go to. And last but not least, make sure that you play test your lots, especially or actually, if you're going to upload it for other people to use, then just make sure you play test your lot. Test that your Sims can get to the toilet, they can get to the fridge, they can get to the bed, they can get to stuff that they're going to interact with ease. And that's basically it. So anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope that this video was helpful, and I will see you whenever I upload something else. Later days.